Someone just got divorced recently. Who is that person who just got divorced? Just yell it out. Kim Kardashian got divorced. After how many days? You guys all know. You guys all know. How many of you just said that, right? You guys all know that Kim Kardashian just got divorced after 72 days. You care about that. You care about the fact that first of all, I don't even know who Kim Kardashian is. But whoever this person is, this person got divorced after 72 days. And I care about that. And I'm on Facebook and you see post after post after post. Kim Kardashian got divorced after 72 days, but gays should have the ability to get married, which is fair and good. And Kim Kardashian got divorced after 72 days. What about the institution of marriage, which is fine. But, I mean, Kim Kardashian got divorced after 72 days. Are you serious? Are you serious? We care. We care. We have an emotional response to the fact that Kim Kardashian got divorced after 72 days. Why? Why do we have that emotional response? Some bright student, tell me why we actually care. Yes?
It's more of a comment. I think some of us don't actually care, but like when you're watching the news and you're watching something about Gaddafi and all of a sudden they switch back to Kim Kardashian, you don't really have a choice.
Right.
Like, it's like they bombard you with all that stuff.
Oh, I like the bombardment. You know where this is going. What, for those who care, why do you care? Because you're tuned in. You watch her on whatever show she comes on, Bravo or A&E or whatever channel it is that she's on. So you watch her on that channel, and you feel like you know Kim Kardashian. Oh, she met her beau. He's so tall and muscular. He's so nice. They vacation. He buys her nice things. Oh, and after all of a sudden now, she leaves him after 72 days. They give you this sense of attachment to Kim Kardashian. But is it a real sense of attachment? If you were to meet Kim Kardashian in the street, do you think she would know who you are? No. Do you think she would care? No. Do you think that she would care that you are students and you have to write papers because the semester is drawing to an end? No. I care that you're students and you have to write papers. Your professors care that you are students and you have to write papers. Do you guys see that the relationship of care, listen to this now, the relationship of care between you and Kim Kardashian is unidirectional. It only goes in one way. And it's you giving your care and your affection to her. And do you think she's going to deny it? Jay-Z has a great line in the song Monster. How many of you know Monster? Let me see who's real here. Okay. I see some women put their hands on too. He goes, love, I can't get enough of it. All I get is vampires and bloodsuckers. That's Jay-Z Monster. Love, I can't get enough of it. I want your love. I want to be loved by you, which is also another lyric. She can't get enough. She is a consumer of affection. She is a consumer of care. She is a consumer of love. And this is not knocking Kim Kardashian, right? This is celebrity worship in general, right? They are consumers of your love. They are consumers of your affection. Why? Because they recognize, insofar as you care, what can they do with your care?
Make money.
Oh, they can monetize your care. Care's big business. Care's big business. The industry of business is built on care. The industry of business is built on your affection and your love for these idols that we prop up. And you don't recognize how important your love and your care actually is. Now, since we recognize that the love that you have for your celebrities, and I'm not knocking it, I'm a bit of a Jay-Z fan, maybe a little bit more than I probably should be. I have care for my celebrities and love for my celebrities. But since we recognize that this love and care is unidirectional, it flows in one way, what do you think we ought to do now that we recognize this? Simple question. What ought we to do?
Stop loving them.
Stop caring! Stop caring! It's simple. I watch Kim Kardashian, and not just her in general, but I watch Kim Kardashian, and she's going to entertain me. So I'm going to watch the theatrics. Oh man, oh too bad you lost your my wife watches this show. She lost her earring in the water or whatever, and she started crying because she lost her earring in the water. She lost her earring in the water. I can't believe it, Kim Kardashian. Lost her $70,000. I don't care. I don't care. Right? I don't care. You are going to be on a stage to perform for me, and I am here to enjoy the performance. But what people don't recognize is the distinction between entertainment and true compassion. They should be separate. When you go to a play, when you go to the cinema, when you go to a concert, when you watch television, engage yourself, but you have to recognize that this is purely fictitious. There is a real world out there. And let me tell you a little bit about the real world. The real world is filled with two things. Just like here and apathy, it's filled with good and evil. And this is the simplest story that you can tell. There's a balance. You guys know the yin and yang, the black and white? Right? There's a balance in the universe. And the attempt of the universe, if you were to personify it, is to bring balance to all of the evil that's in the world. And I'm going to tell you a very quick, it might disturb you, so for those of you who have religious belief, I am not challenging your religious faith. This is a university. You guys have to be open-minded. There's what's known as the problem of evil. The problem of evil. And if you want to watch a full lecture of the problem of evil, you can go to my YouTube channel, which is just youtube.com/Dr. Jason J. Campbell. The problem of evil is as follows. It is said that God has three characteristics. God is all-powerful, which is omnipotent. O-M-N-I-P-O-T-E-N-T. God is all-powerful. God is omnipotent. He can create anything, or she or they can create anything. God is omniscient, meaning that God knows everything. So God is all-powerful, God is all-knowing, and the final characteristic is God is all-loving. He's omnibenevolent. So there's three characteristics that God, of whatever classification of God, it doesn't matter what God you believe in. If you believe in God, your God has these characteristics. He or she, they, is all-loving, all-knowing, all-powerful. Now, the question then arises, and this is a pretty simple question to recognize. Remember, care. If God is said to have all of these characteristics, and I am suffering, I am impoverished, I am in pain, I am neglected, I feel as though no one cares for me, how could God have those characteristics and not prevent my anguish? Because certainly, if I were all-powerful, and I recognize what you mean, Araceli? If I was all-powerful, and I cared for Araceli, and I recognized that she was in pain, I would use some of my power to help her. I have a young daughter, I have a young son. If my son or daughter were in jeopardy, do you think I would limit the amount of force that I would use to protect my child? Absolutely not. If I knew, if I had all the knowledge in the world, and I knew that injustice and evil were happening, wouldn't I use my knowledge to activate my power? Certainly. And then lastly, if I were all loving, well, my love would motivate me to try and help you out of the predicaments that you're in. My love would motivate me to prevent the evil from setting its evil claws into your body. Now, this last bit is going to mess with you a little bit, but you have to forgive me. It's a good lecture to have. I remember when the first time I heard this lecture, I was like, okay, that changed my life. If God is all-powerful, then God should be able to create a rock that he cannot move. But if God can create the rock, but can't move it, well, his inability to move the rock is a limitation of his power. If you say, no, well, that doesn't work. So he can't create something that limits himself. So no, God can't create the rock. Well, insofar as he can't create the rock, then that's a limitation of his power. So whether he can create the rock or he can't create the rock, it's a limitation of his power. Not trying to challenge your religious beliefs. Talk to your religious leaders on Sunday. Let them sort that out, right? Now, this is not an attack on God. That's not the point of the lecture. The point is to show you on a very, very simplistic Kim Kardashian level and a very, very large, global, universal, metaphysical level that there is at least the conception that the biggest and the smallest really don't care about you. Now, I'm not saying that God doesn't care about you, right? But what I am saying is, at least given what I've said so far, you got to scratch your head, like, who is looking out for my best interest? Where is the care? Where is the love? Who is looking out else who has monetized your love and affection, they don't care about you. They don't care about the things that you know. You don't exist. Love, I can't get enough of it. The creator of the universe, arguably, sort this out with your religious leaders, has all the characteristics to care, has all the characteristics to help you. However, there doesn't seem to be any alleviation of my pain and suffering. So metaphysically speaking, there's no care from the big beyond to help me. So the question then, where do we find care? Where do we find care today? Where? Somebody. Where do we find care today? Nobody? Apathy is setting. Tell me your name. Harlem. Where do we find it? Family. You find it in your family. You find it in your friends. You find it in school. You find it in your instructors. You find it in your educators. You find it in your leaders. You find it amongst yourselves. What you have to recognize, and this is so profound a point, students, what you have to recognize is that no one cares. And despite the fact that no one cares, I have the responsibility to care. Is Miami-Dade cutting me a check today? I didn't get the check. I'm not getting the check. Did Miami-Dade, are they taking me out to even lunch? I'm not going out to lunch. I have a full-time job. I have a YouTube channel. I have a wife and kids. I have a conference that I'm hosting on Saturday. Why am I here? I am here for you because I care. The only way to properly be said to have care is to demonstrate care. This is a demonstration of care. I am not here for any other reason than I know that if it's just one of you, that this message gets across to you, you're like, holy crap, Dr. Cameron, really? This is out of control. And he doesn't even know me. And I don't know you. But what I do recognize is that I was just like you. I was probably off way worse than most of you. If you were to see me in the streets, I'm tatted from head to toe. I didn't start off on the right path in life. I got affiliated with all the wrong people and did all the wrong things in my life. And then I recognized that education was my way out. And insofar as I recognized that education was my way out, it wasn't a pipe dream that was being sold to me. It really wasn't. Now, because of my education, I can take care of my wife and my kids. My wife's car is paid for. I live in a nice community. I have a nice house. Blah, 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 blah. Because I recognized that education was the institution in which I could get tools in order to survive, that otherwise I would be subject to people's indifference and apathy. Because no one really cares about the young black kid from the streets. I mean, let's keep it real. Does anybody care? Nobody cares about me. I have to care about myself. If you understand it at that personal level, then we can take it one step higher. Anybody have any questions at this point? Because I want to make sure that this is clear. Everybody good? Okay. Now, we are going to transition from an interpersonal sense of care, wherein I have care for individual students or a group of students, to an international sense of care. We're not going to go metaphysical. We've already got rid of that. To an international sense of care. With respect to genocide, you guys know what genocide is, right? Genocide is what? Just generally. What's genocide? It's an attack, the mass killing, the orchestrated mass killing of a group of people, right? Of a certain race. It could be a gender, it could be ethnicity, it could be language, it could be anything. But it's individuals who have power, who are in control, who have the resources, utilizing their power, resources, and control to systematically slaughter people. I'll give you an example. In the genocide of 1994, Hutu versus Tutsi in Rwanda, something around 800,000 to 1 million people died. And how long do you think it took to kill 800,000 to 1 million people? They didn't use guns. Primarily, they chopped them to death with machetes. Think about how long it takes to chop someone to death. I hate to be graphic, but you have to chop someone to death, right? 800,000 to 1 million people. How long do you think it took to kill that many people? And a lot of, how much time? And I'll know you. Not everything. Yes. A day. It took about a month. It took about a month. That's insane. I've done the math on this. That's a lot of people dying. That's a lot of people dying. And imagine you, and this is important, imagine you get up today to come to school. You remember what you did before you got here. You got up, eating something, or for me, you had your second cup of coffee, you're preparing, and you don't really think anything of it. And I go, and I extend my hand to open the door, and I'm going to start my day, and there my murderer is. Ready for me, right? The problem with apathy, the problem with not caring, is that you feel like it could never happen to me. It could never be the case that I would end up being the victim of something, right? It might be the case that you're not going to.
I care.
Thank you.
I care.
Thank you. She heard me say. What you don't recognize and what you don't think can happen is that today is my day. Today's my day. I had a cousin, and I lived in the area, and he lives in the area. He was in Liberty City. You guys know where Liberty City is. Wrong place, wrong time, and they killed him for his car. I had close friends who were murdered. Many, many close friends who were murdered. You don't think it's your day. I'm going to die, but I'm just not going to die when? I'm not going to die. I'm going to die. I know I'm going to die. You know you're going to die. You guys know you're going to die, right? I'm sorry. Do you guys know that you're going to die? But it's just not going to be today, right?
Hopefully.
Think about this. If you live your life like today is your last day, then this could be potentially my last lecture. So you think I'm going to give, you have to put on my French, you think I'm going to give a half-assed lecture if it's my last lecture? I'm going to give you everything I got. I don't have any after this. This is all I got. Because today might be the last lecture that I ever give. And I pride myself in being an educator. So I have to lecture to you like it's the last lecture that I'm ever going to give. I have to communicate to you my sense of care. So much so that you believe he really cares. Dr. Campbell died. And I told my wife, I was like, when I die, I want 2 viewings. One for my students, one for the family. Right? That's how you will show that you care. By getting me water and attending my funeral, right? It's morbid, I know. With respect to genocide, what you guys have to recognize is that destruction is happening, the willful, intentful, systematic extermination of human beings is happening all the time. All the time. How many of you know what's going on in North Korea right now? Anybody know what's going on in North Korea right now? I probably shouldn't be saying this because it's streaming live. I don't know what's going on in North Korea either. I don't know what's going on in North Korea, but I'm sure it's not something good. I've heard what's going on in North Korea. It's not a pretty sight. Cannibalism, mass extermination. I'm an instructor. I wouldn't just put this out there to make it up. But your media is not going to tell you what's going on in North Korea, are they? No. Why? Because, God, why would you want to care about that? You might actually try to organize and help other people. You might activate your what? You might activate your care. Your care, the sense of compassion that you have for other people is something that is effective in the world. It drives you to do things. Do you really think that no offense to Britney Spears fans, do you really think that Britney Spears gets all those album sales because she sings well? Do you think all that, no offense Britney if you're watching, but do you think Britney Spears is getting all those album sales because she's actually singing well? No. She's created a sense of care, rebellion. They put her in a little school skirt. Oh, I'm going to be rebellious. I'm going to be sexually advantageous. I'm going to go experiment. And I want to be that. I'm coming into my womanhood. I want to be like that. I'm going to support her because I recognize a certain sense, a certain affection that I have for her because I feel or I've been programmed to think that she really cares. Yet, people are dying every day. And the question is, what are you doing? What have you done? You only get so much time before death knocks at the door. There's a famous philosopher by the name of Heidegger, Martin Heidegger. And Martin Heidegger has this amazingly genius concept of a being towards death. A being towards death. Now, The idea is, once you're born, you are actually in the process from your birth, in stages, preparing for the inevitability of your death. And the question is, and I really want you to take time to think about this as the day goes on, what am I going to be remembered for? Because you only get one shot. Even if you believe in reincarnation, you still only get one shot in this life. Your next life is another life, right? You only get one shot. So what is it that you are going to be remembered for? Now, I'm not saying that you guys should assume the obligation that I've assumed. Not many people can do what I can do. Very few in the world can do what I do. Care at the level that I care. However, I'm a pawn. I understand my role. It is to demonstrate to you how this is done. So the question is, you might not be able to do what I do, but I'm going to ask you, how can you show care in the world? One student, how can you show care? We know how care has already been demonstrated. I appreciate it. And I'll use this opportunity to take a drink. How will you demonstrate your care? Yes, ma'am. Being involved. I love it. I love it. Being involved in what? In anything. In everything. Right? Being involved for the sake of whom? For the sake of yourself?
Another person.
This is good. I would come back and give you a virtual handshake. Being involved for the sake of other people. There are two concepts that you guys, I want you to know. Another philosopher, Thomas Hobbes, talks about what's known as a really horrible state. It's called the state of nature. And in the state of nature, it's winner takes all. Right? The strongest, you guys sound like you know about Hobbes. This is good. It's winner takes all. The strongest survive. And unfortunately, some of you are not going to make the cut. So we need to create a contract in which people who aren't physically strong enough, people who are intellectually strong enough, can survive. How do we do that? By care. You have, as I said before, good, evil. You have care, apathy. You have the altruist, A-L-T-R-U-I-S-T. You have the altruist, and the opposite of the altruist is the, anybody knows? Difficult. The egoist. The altruist is concerned with whom? With the other person, right? The altruist is concerned with the other person. I live my life in such a manner that I concern myself with other people. Right now, I'm concerning myself with you as students. What you guys have to recognize, and this is extremely important, is that the care that I demonstrate is actual care because I don't have anything to benefit from this. Kardashian, not to knock her. Kardashian, when celebrities go on stage and they get to elicit all of this care, do you think it's genuine or do you think it's a performance? Do you really think it's a performance? It's a performance. What does that say about your care that you're directing towards them? You're directing your care towards a phantasm, to something that was structured in order to do what? To drain you. To drain you of what? Of compassion. I would love to see a survey that would show people's level of happiness and satisfaction prior to watching an episode and after watching an episode. You guys ever watch Bravo's, what is it called? The Housewives of X? The Housewives, and I can't say that I don't watch this stuff, right? I'm not trying to act like that. I told my wife, I was like, sweetie, I've watched a few episodes. When you watch it, I have to be in another room. After the episode is done, I am telling you, I'm stressed. I am physically stressed out. The whole episode sounds like this. Back and forth. I hate you. I can't stand that. She's a bitch. She don't let me take my money. You guys laugh, but you have to think about it. What does 1 hour of that do to you? You're there. You're vested. You care. Oh my God, I can't believe you did that to her. She's such a nice lady. Oh my goodness, I would never do that to her. Don't you see? And then what? And then the show's over. Hi, don't forget to buy the new Camaro. I'm so angst-ridden. I need an out. So, that's right. And don't forget, call now, order now, buy it now. Oh, that's what I can do. That's where I can direct all of this anxiety that I have built up. They have something that fill that void that they just created inside of me. People look scared. I don't mean to scare you guys. I'll tone it down. That void wasn't there before. Watch it, but watch it and be entertained. I'm, quote unquote, paying my money insofar as I'm watching advertisers are paying you. So it's sort of sick, but yeah, you know, I'm gonna laugh at your problems and your suffering. Because if I get too vested in that, I won't be able to actually direct my care and compassion for real problems in the world. I won't have enough left in me to actually care about real dilemmas, about real circumstances where people really need my care. My care is a very, very, very valuable thing. And I don't have the time to invest my care in a unidirectional relationship. Thank you very much.